This is Rock Leach with Social Fire. Okay, family, let's talk about the silent battle that's going on in too many Christian homes. Not demons, not bills, but a tug of war between marriage and ministry. And most couples are too ashamed to admit they feel the pull. But today, I'm drawing the whole thing out because once you see it, you can fix it. So let's walk through the five forces pulling on each side of the rope. You don't want to miss this video.
Social fire, we don't play. Rock leech, bringing the heat all day. Faith on fire, no mask, no leash. Fire in his voice, yeah, I rock.
He the voice for the ones that the church forgot. He bring truth to the light, whether liked or not.
Are you over 40 and ready to share your faith through content creation? Now is the time. I hit 5 million views last year using my video content script template, and I want to give it to you for free. It's valued at $2,000 because of its potential, but this season is about purpose, not profit. I believe in giving value, so this game-changing tool is yours at no cost. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get started. Let's take your content to the next level. Let's go. Okay, many of you all know that I am very much a happily married man, and I just believe that there are a lot of things that are discussed on YouTube as far as, biblical debates and different things of that nature. And we've decided to make marriage a part of the things that we talk about and teach about here on Social Fire because we see a area where it's not being spoke about enough. And so we want to talk about these things. It's tug of war of the things that are pulling you away, stretching you, if you would, between marriage and ministry. And we want to talk about those things. And we're going to get into a few of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this out and you're going to see it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about several of these things. So let's deal with this side right here, which is going to be the ministry aspect and what is pulling you when it comes to ministry, what's pulling you away when it comes to ministry. And so we're looking at this. One of the things that I see is ministry having a problem when people have the pressure to perform. When they start feeling this pressure to perform, when you start feeling that pressure to perform in ministry, you know, in ministry, everybody expects you to always be on, always be available, always strong. But pressure pulls you away from home more than purpose does, if we're really looking at it. That pressure will pull you away when you feel like that you have to be the one to perform. You have this pressure to perform. Now, if we look at the Word of God and we go here to the Word of God, you'll see, and I'm using my Logos Bible software, here at Galatians 1 and 11, it said, 1 and 10 right here. It says, for am I now seeking the approval of man or of God, or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. And I love how they put this cross reference right here from Romans 1 and 1, where it shows us Paul's actual greeting is Paul, a servant of Christ Jesus, called to be an apostle. But the first thing you see before you see apostle and all of that is the title of servant of Christ. Now, here's the thing that I have to show you is that when we're looking at this, we have to understand that if you are feeling pressure to perform, are you really able to be that true servant here? Are you able to really be that true servant here? Next thing that I want to show you here that we want to get into is other people's emergencies. So we're just going to put people's emergencies. People's emergencies. Now, church folk will hand you their storms and expect you to fix them by tonight at 7 o'clock. I'm telling you, church folk will kill you and wonder why you died. That's reality. Their crisis becomes your calendar. When you're doing that kind of stuff, y'all, that pulls you away. You're going to see me make several references to this pulling you away because we're talking about the things on this side that are pulling you. This right here in the middle, this rope right here, is marriage. That is marriage, and that is you. We'll say that's you. And what's happening is that you've got ministry on this side, and you've got marriage on this side. And I know y'all can't see my pen unless I touch the screen there, but we want to make sure that you understand this when you're being pulled away. Another reason people are pulled away when we're looking at that right there is this fear of disappointing. Fear of disappointing people. Y'all, that gets you into a level of ministry guilt. You feel guilty, the silent belief that if you say no, you're failing God. Y'all, I used to be there. That's how I can talk about it and preach about it. You feel like that if you say no, you're failing God. Y'all, the devil is a liar. That's what's going on. But half the time, it's not God, it's people. You got to understand that it's not God, it's people. So you got this whole fear of disappointing. You letting people's emergencies dominate your calendar. You got this pressure to perform, and all of this thing right here leads to the next one here that I want to give you, which is yeah, an addiction to being needed. Now, I know that's pretty close there, but you see what I'm talking about. An addiction to being needed. That's a problem there as well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to correct that because I don't like the way that looked there. We're going to get that looking a little bit better, and hopefully we can get that in there. All right, we'll just put need. All right, an addiction to being needed. Now, y'all, we got to look at this, and let's be real. Being the go-to person, it actually feels good, and I gotta call that out. It feels good, but if you're not careful, y'all, you'll serve everybody except the one who you made the covenant with, your spouse. You're gonna serve everybody except for your spouse. That's what's gonna happen. You're serving everybody except where you need to be serving, and that's something that we have to call out. All right, the next thing that I want to show you is this this never ending to-do list. I was a pastor. One of the most dangerous things in the world. There's always another sermon, always another video, always another meeting. There's always another message. Ministry doesn't end unless you make it end. We got to call that what it is, y'all. We got to call that what it is. Now, these are things that I wanted to share with you right here because these things are pulling you one way. They're all pulling you one way. This is pulling you away. This is pulling you away. When you have that pressure to perform, that you're looking at people's emergencies, the fear of disappointing, that's pulling you away. That's stretching you. The addiction to being needed. You know, you're so used to being everybody's solution. Then you've got this never-ending list. That's all pulling you away, and that's what it's going to do. Is it's going to pull you away. We got to look at it. All those things there. Let me go ahead and number these right here so you can see it. And I hope those all made it on the screen there. But what happens is you've got that thing. But in marriage as well, we've got to go ahead and look at that. It's two sides to this whole thing. You've got ministry on one side, but you've got marriage on the other side. And I want you to see what's going on right here. What pulls marriage away from ministry is, let's go with this right here. The unspoken thing right here that we will deal with is the expectations at home. Let's deal with that. Expectations at home. All right. Now, I hope that all made it on the screen there, and y'all have to forgive my handwriting because I'm got this at an angle, and but it is what it is. All right. So here's the thing: your spouse is carrying a whole different set of needs you don't always see, and that becomes a problem when you're so ministry minded, and you don't see what's going on. It's a whole different set of needs, and you can't always see them. If it's unspoken, it becomes resentment, y'all. If it's unspoken. We're just calling it what it is. All right. The next thing that I want to deal with this right here, I'm talking about in marriage. This happens in marriage. This emotional emotional exhaustion. This emotional exhaustion when home feels like another assignment instead of refuge. Y'all, whenever you get into that place right there, the connection is getting ready to break if it's all not already broke. When home feels like another assignment instead of a refuge, the connection breaks. That's what happens when you get to that place right there, and that's bad. Your home should feel refuge. You should want to go home to get away from everything, not going home for a ministry assignment. All right. Another thing that has a problem here within marriage is that feeling left out. Feeling left out of, make this two lines. Feeling left out of your calling. That's another problem, y'all, because your spouse knows your call. They do know your call, but they don't want to feel invisible in the process. They know you call, but don't nobody want to feel invisible in the process. That's not a good feeling. And we got to go ahead and call that out, you all. And which when you do that, what happens is you'll run right into the next thing here, which is lack of quality. I'm gonna make this one two lines too. Lack of quality time. Y'all, not quantity, quality. When you're home, but still mentally in ministry, you're not home. If you're doing that, you I'm telling you, so many people are guilty of this. And then it leads to the next thing here, and I hope y'all can see this down here. I'm gonna have to squeeze it in there, which is the next thing, which is, and I'm gonna bring it down if y'all can't see it. Miss, if it's giving it to me. All right. Now I wrote that out. That's going to be miscommunication. Now, one leads to the other one. Tiny misunderstandings, y'all, is going to pile up like bricks until you're both tired and silent. And that's the whole thing. If you're looking at this right here, the whole thing that goes on right here that I've got to show you is that, y'all, all of these things are pulling you away. And I'm going to show you what's happening. It's pulling you to one side or the other, and I'm just showing you this right here. And what happens if we're looking at this really, really good? If we're looking at this really, really good, y'all, what we'll start to notice is that it's doing something. It is stretching you. It is taking you to where the person that's actually suffering the most in all of this is the person in the middle, which is going to be you. And what happens is that you are up here and it's stretching you because you got things pulling you this way, you got things pulling you that way. You're a jack of all trades but master of none. And we got to remember what the word of God lets us know, y'all. You can't just be always about you. Listen, let's go to Galatians 1:10, what I started with right here. For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God, or am I trying to please man? That is the dichotomy right there that we have to really, really look at when we are leading. Sometimes we'll get in marriage, and marriage, that's your first ministry. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. Marriage is your first ministry. That should be first. But then we've gotten to a place to where we've made that a battle. Because let me tell you this, when you allow ministry to become that significant beyond your marriage, it starts to become the other woman, the other man. It becomes the affair. Then you start sneaking to do stuff. You're hiding text messages and voicemails and emails and stuff because you don't want to start nothing at home because you're hiding it, because you're always preoccupied with doing that. There needs to be a level of balance, because what's happening is if you don't take care of this, it's going to pull you apart. It's going to pull you apart. And guess who's going to break? You. Let me put that up there so y'all can see that. Guess who's going to break? Make sure y'all got this up here. You are going to break, because this thing is going to pull you this way and pull you this way. And what's happening is that you're not going to have enough energy here. You're not going to have enough energy here, and all of a sudden it's just dominating you because what's happening is that it just got you going everywhere. I mean, I'm just saying it's got all kind. It's pulling you everywhere. Things you don't want to do. You know you want to be with your children, but you got to think about the kids at church. Then you starting to get it mixed up and going on. Y'all, this is the reality of what a lot of leaders go through is because they don't have that balance within their household. And I'm going to go even further here. If y'all will let me go a little bit further here, if y'all will let me go a little bit further here, let's go to Luke, the 5th chapter, the 15th through the 16th verse. If you'll go there and you'll see, but now when more the report about him went abroad, I want y'all to look at Jesus. I got to give y'all an example from Jesus, how he did this. But now, even more, the report about him went abroad, and great crowds gathered to hear him and to be healed of their infirmities. But look here, 16 says, but he, want to know who that he was. Who was that he we was talking about? Jesus, all right? Want to make sure we see them cross-reference scriptures there, letting us know who it was. But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. We got to understand that even Jesus knew them crowds and people, they're going to always have a need, but you need to understand how to withdraw. Your home should never be ministry. The home should never be totally about ministry. It needs to be your refuge where you go to pray, you go to gather yourselves, and know that that is for your protection, not your rejection. And so I wanted to get into that today. And so the solution, looking at all of this right here, y'all, it's not marriage versus ministry. It's two sides pulling on the same person, you. And if you don't identify these forces, they'll tear you apart emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and relationally. Y'all, that's what's going to happen. But once you see the force, you can set boundaries. And that is the key to all of this. You have to be able to see it so you can set some boundaries. I can only do this. I can only be here for this long. I can only do this for this long. Setting boundaries. I can't do this. I'm not Superman. Admitting that you're not Superman. One, you're a servant of God. Some things you need to step out the way and let God. I'm not going to say something. You need to completely step out the way and let God do what he's going to do. But anyway, I just wanted to talk on this regard right here and share a few things with you. I know I'm not the world's best drawer, but we're trying to do some different content here. I don't draw very well, but I am a person who takes a lot of notes. But the thing that I want to make sure that you're able to see here is ministry versus marriage. And y'all, number one right here, the pressure to perform. That's starting to pull you. You got number two, people's emergencies. Your calendar is dominated now by everybody's emergencies. When did that start happening? And why you have your calendar there? You can't get to your kid's birthday because, or celebrate that anniversary like you need because you're trying to get back to the church. That's not right. That's not right. Number three, fear of disappointing. You don't want to disappoint nobody because you feel like you're not in the will of God if somebody's disappointed. Listen, I'm telling you, that is a bad place to be. And because of that, you get to number four, you're addicted to being needed. You're addicted to being needed. And then you get down here where you're in this never ending to-do list. Everything you got, it's always another sermon, always another video, always another meeting, always, I'm just saying, it's always something. And then you get over to here to home and you got these expectations at home, these expectations that are not necessarily the correct expectations. We got to call that what it is, y'all. We got to call it what it is, because many times we have expectations. Y'all, and your spouse is carrying a different set of needs that you don't always see, because many times you've gotten so focused on the church and what the church needs, the ministry and what the ministry needs, that you missing the needs that are right in your face. Because now it's unspoken. It becomes resentment if it's unspoken. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. All right. And the second thing right here is this emotional exhaustion, because that's a place a lot of people get burnt out, emotionally exhausted in marriage because of ministry. When the home feels like another assignment instead of a refuge, that's bad, y'all. That means connections are getting ready to break, or they've already broken. That's a bad place to be, And another thing that I see this a lot is when you feel left out of your calling, left out of your calling. When your spouse feels like they are left out of the calling, that's a bad place. They don't want to feel invisible in the process. They know that you're called, but they don't want to feel invisible in the process. And many times, people will just, say, God this, God spoke, God said this, God told me, God this. And after a while, you just like the spouse will feel like, well, I know you called, but what about me? Am I invisible here? Am I just supposed? And that's a problem. That there is a problem. And then you get into the next thing when you start doing that, lack of quality time. No quality time. When you're home, but you're still mentally in ministry, turn that phone off. Turn the phone off, get away. And I'm saying, set you some boundaries. You know, when you're doing all of that mentally and you're there, but you're mentally in ministry, you're not at home. You need to be where your feet are. You need to be where your feet are. And then what happens next is that last thing right here is the miscommunication down here starts to happen. And you start, the tiny misunderstandings, they start to pile up, y'all. They start to pile up. They get major. They start to pile up. And before you know it, they pile up like bricks. And both, you're both tired and silent, So let's go ahead. This right here, I'm going to go ahead. I didn't mean to do that right there. But I just want to say that those expectations, all that kind of thing right there, y'all, that is important. And just want to make sure y'all see that right there, that, because we have to make sure that this is not silently destroying us. So that's number one over here, two. All right. This was three altogether. This was number four. And this was five. All right. Wanted to give you all of those things right there. And I hope that you all were able to gather something from this that will help you in your relationship. The tug of war of ministry, you need to set some boundaries. And your marriage should always be your first ministry. I just want you to meet me in the comments and let's talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's go.
Social fire, we don't play. Rock leech, bringing the heat all day. Faith on fire, no mask, no leash. Fire in his voice, yeah, I rock.
He the voice for the ones that the church forgot. He bring truth to the light, whether liked or not.
Are you over 40 and ready to share your faith through content creation? Now is the time. I hit 5 million views last year using my video content script template, and I want to give it to you for free. It's valued at $2,000 because of its potential, but this season is about purpose, not profit. I believe in giving value, so this game-changing tool is yours at no cost. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get started. Let's take your content to the next level. Let's go.